It's not often that we come across a completely new concept of boat, but this new Cetera 60 from the Italian yard Fiat Mare certainly lives up to that billing. It's powered by a pair of IPS 700 drives for a top speed of about 23 knots and carries 1,500 litres of fuel. It's around 60 foot long and 18 foot wide. But it's not so much the technical details that make it different as the very unusual styling and layout. So let's take a closer look on board this very unusual layout. So the cockpit itself is fairly conventional, but it's very nice and open. There's no guardrails around it. It's quite low. You get a really good connection with the sea. You can see all the mooring lines tucked away under here. All the technical spaces. There's a folding transom, so you don't pay for any more than you absolutely need to on your berth. That folds up, saves you an extra couple of feet, but it means you have got a nice bathing platform when you want to use it. But then the really unusual thing about this yacht is that all the technical spaces are laid right down in the bilges of the boat, meaning that the whole configuration is altered. It's got all the cabins actually on a kind of main deck layout. It's slightly below. It's like a half deck rather than having a conventional main deck and then upper deck. You actually walk in from the cockpit to the lower deck, although it's really the main deck that's just dropped a little bit. But rather than it being the saloon, you've got your accommodation here. So there's one lovely double cabin here. And again, the joy of this is that you get fantastic views out. You've got these deck level windows as well as hull windows. Certain amount of storage in there. Lots of little cupboards around the foot of the bed. And it's quite a different space. There's really good headroom in here. So look at that, there's good 5 or 6 inches above me. Now this one has rather than an ensuite bathroom, there's a bathroom opposite on the other side of the boat. But the joy of that is that this means that it can also be used as a day head, so you can come straight in from the cockpit area as a day heads immediately as you come in. Then you move through this deck and there's another, well, this is the main cabin actually, this is the owner's cabin. Really good, lots of natural light in here too, again from those deck level windows and the hull windows. Big wide bed. It's almost more like a room in a house or something, because there's these very tall upright walls all around you really, rather than feeling like a bulkhead. It's much more like a shape of a small bedroom rather than a cabin tucked into the lower deck of a boat. This one does have an ensuite bathroom. Quite simple finish. It's nice and white and clean and bright and modern, not too fussy. Good walk-in shower. Again, left fairly plain. But it's a really different feeling on board because that deck is not tucked away down at a much lower level. It all feels bigger and brighter. And then there is a third cabin here. This is the twin cabin. Probably going to be shared by the kids, but it still has those lovely big hull windows. 2 slightly narrow single berths. But it does have an ensuite bathroom too. So 3 good sized cabins. 2 of them are ensuite and the other has its own bathroom, but that does double as the day heads. But then this is the surprise. You come through all these cabins to the galley. So this is the galley area and the saloon. So again, it's all about this kind of open plan living space. So rather than having the saloon at the back of the boat where you're exposed to the pontoon, usually if your berth's stern to in the Mediterranean, they've moved the saloon to the forward end of the boat where it enjoys more privacy and a lot of light with access to straight onto the foredeck. And there's huge doors on pantograph hinges that swings open to reveal this bow area, which, as is increasingly common in boats like this, it's got a really full beam that's carried a long way forward. So there's a big, wide forward cockpit. Ah, perfect. My man has arrived with a price list. So the price for this with the IPS 700 D8 Volvo Penta engines, starts from 1.195 million, or you can have the IPS 800 engines starting at 1.22 million, and that is euros ex tax. But yeah, just the way this whole area ties together, it's very kind of contemporary living feeling. It's all open plan, it's all on the same level or near enough. Clearly this is a table, there's a cushion that clips over that and the whole table sinks down, so this whole area can become one massive sun pad, or you can lift the cushion off and then use it as a dining space. In a similar situation here, that's the cushion that sits on top of that hatch, but I've already left the hatch open so we can pop down and have a look at the crew cabin. So this is a 60-foot boat. You could easily have this as an owner-operated boat, but there is quite a decent crew space down here. So this is underneath the forward cockpit area. You can see there's two quite decent bunks. It's obviously a bit plain and simple down here, but it does have a proper ensuite bathroom. And then to give you an idea of all those technical spaces, there is a hatch here which I can just open up, and it's pretty dark in there. I'm not sure, I can't see any light switch, but you can see that it does run all the way down there underneath the boat. So there is a whole another technical deck below the level of that lower deck. Very interesting and unusual design. Let's go back up because there is something else I can show you. Just have a quick peek in the bow locker there, and you can see there's access to all the anchor gear through there. Let's climb back up. Oh. Now it's a full walk around design, so on both sides there are really good protected side decks, so you can move right around the boat. And we'll come down this deck so you can see what I mean. Very easy to walk along there, back into the stern cockpit, and now you can see what I mean by that split level effect. This is the accommodation deck we've just been through, and here is the staircase leading up to the upper deck, but it's not like a flybridge at all. It's nothing like that high, and that all keeps the centre of gravity nice and low, so it should have much more natural stability. You haven't got all that weight up top, but it's another really lovely living space. So it is fully enclosed if you want to. You can close up all these windows, you can close the roof, you can close this little stern hatch, and this is the main living area when, particularly if you need to get out of the sun or the weather's not so great, you've got this lovely living space here. And this is the main galley up here. What we saw down below was just a small sort of wet bar style galley. This is the main galley where you've got full hob, proper oven, lots and lots of work surface space, loads of storage. There's the fridge, double sink, lots of storage, dishwasher, all your cutlery and crockery all slide in there, and then a lovely dining slash lounging area right opposite that. So again, it's this very open plan contemporary living, and of course the main helm station. Because you've only got one helm station, this is all enclosed, so the roof all closes up, and it is a completely enclosed saloon effectively, but it's like a raised saloon with the bedrooms on the main deck rather than the saloon on the main deck and the cabins tucked down beneath. But good visibility from this helm station. You've got windows all the way around, but it's also very much part of this social space. Got the normal throttles, it's IPS, so of course you've got the joystick too. You can point it exactly where you want to go. Windscreen wipers. But then the joy of this solution is that it also opens up. You can see all these buttons here raise and lower. You've got the upper frames, that is the sunroof. You can see that were enclosed, but that shuts up the whole thing there. You can see there's glass in there, so even when it's closed, there's lots of natural light coming in. Then port frames here. You can see how that slides down, and that closes off that section. There's the starboard frames again. There's the stern frames. See if we can lower that. You can just see that stern frame closing up. So the whole area can be completely enclosed. You can air condition this, you can heat it, and you can see these are the frames that were running up and down. This is the stern frame. So this whole section can be enclosed and be completely cozy, weatherproof, air conditioned, whatever you like, but equally it all opens up. So that's the other benefit of having the saloon up here. On a conventional flybridge, there's no way you could open it up because clearly you've got the upper deck above it. But with this solution, and there is also a one-touch button if you want to drop everything. You touch one button and absolutely everything starts to close up. So you don't have to do it all individually. There is a one-touch button. Move back here, you can see that sunroof closing into place, and in just a couple of minutes you've transformed it. Give it a few more seconds. Quite a noisy electric motor, but it does make it all incredibly simple, and now we are completely enclosed. This is what the Cetera 60 looks like from outside. You can see that unusual proportions with that big beamy bow. See if we can get a better view up here. Okay, now we can really get a feel for it. There's that big beamy upright bow. You can see all those windows along the hull line that let all that light into the cabins on the, it's not really the lower deck, it's not really the main deck, it's somewhere in between the two. But you can see there's that forward bow seating area, that mini wet bar cum galley with the saloon up front, and then the top deck where you've got that lovely convertible living space that can be open or closed, and of course the helm itself. Very unusual boat, very interesting design. All credits them for trying something different.